Perfectly Queer with It Gets Better.
Hi, Taylor. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have you.
So happy to have you. Y'all, welcome back to Perfectly Queer with the It Gets Better Project. I'm Ever, your resident non-binary butch.
And I am Taylor, half Capricorn, half chaos bisexual.
I'm half Gemini. I'm Gemini.
You're a Gemini. You don't have to do halves because you're already two people.
I'm pure chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But welcome to the show, you guys, where we like to help you build community, spark joy for roughly an hour. So.
Give or take. We have an incredible show. I know it's getting close to back to school. And today's episode, the theme is books. And just learning and going and growing and looking forward to an incredible school year.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a fabulous school year. I think it's going to be a great show we have today. Before we get started, let's go through the agenda. As you guys know, we do the queer current first. So
I have to say something. You are already in school mode. Let's look at the agenda.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm currently in my third year of my PhD, and I am TAing this quarter. And I'm going to be teaching my own class, and I'm very excited, and I am in syllabus mode. Thank you so much for pointing that out, Ever.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Oh my gosh, do you hear this? The emergency that's occurring outside of my house? Hello? It's fine.
My whole life is an emergency. Y'all, we have an incredible show. We're going to be starting off always with the queer current, with the top 5 news stories that we think you need to know. We have an incredible guest, Morgan Walsh, joining us with Friends of the Family.
So exciting.
We also have the queer current. We're not the queer current. We're also, tech is hard. We're also going with the Converse quick hit, where we're looking at the trends, and odds and ends from all over the internet. We're going into queerly creative today with Shelton Lindsay, an incredible producer, one of our dear friends, talking about one of his favorite books. And of course, we're going to be going into Let's Talk About It.
What a fabulous show we have in front of us. I'm really excited. Before we get into that, though, we do need to thank our Humble Bundle sponsor, the Humble Bundle community, whose generous contributions have really helped to create this show. It's really helped to continue this creative process that me and Ever and our producers in New York have given us. And it's just a really exciting opportunity that they've given us. So thank you so much, Humble Bundle community.
Thank you, Humble Bundle community. And y'all, we're super excited. You might be seeing some really cool things pop up on your screen. We have some amazing shape records coming, and that's all due to the Humble. Oh, look, there it is. Super excited. So every time we see one, pop it off in the chat.
Tag yourself. Tell us what shape record you are.
It is going off. Talking about the class, my life is an emergency. Syllabus mode is still chaos for Taylor.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. Oh, the class, it's just a general film and media class, like a film and media 101 class for freshmen and the new students. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna watch movies.
That's so cool. Y'all, we have an incredible show for you. So sit back, get ready. It is time for the queer current.
Mm-hmm. As you guys know, the news never stops and it is continuous and there is so much of it. So we have done our duty to bring you 5 of the most important queer news stories of the last 2 weeks. Starting with our first news story. There was a recent article in the LA Times in which, an editor, he just talked about, his time with his kids, and he said offhandedly that they went to see a drag show, and then that became a spectacle for certain people. They were like, you took your child to a drag show? How dare you? So, in a very interesting move, the child that went to the drag show wrote their own article about their experience at the drag show, and they said they had a fabulous time.
Yeah, a family-friendly drag show is incredible.
It is.
Like, it's dinner and a show.
All ages drag shows are the backbone of this great country. RuPaul's Drag Race is in its like 30th season across the globe, and it is family entertainment. People watch it all the time. I fail to understand what is wrong with seeing this creative process.
And also, like, live, what a special element to be watching these performers showcase their talent. And also, speaking of showcasing talent and drag queens, Sangela is going to be the first drag queen on Dancing with the Stars.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
I think we already know who's going to win.
She has to. If there's a snub in Dancing with the Stars, I will never shut up about it on Twitter. I already felt that way about All Stars.
I hate to say this, I've never watched.
Neither have I. Oh, well, that's not true. My grandmother was a stringent watcher of Dancing with the Stars, so I have watched a few episodes.
Okay, but like, who do you, if we took all the contestants from Drag Race and we put them on Dancing with the Stars, who do you think would win?
Alyssa Edwards.
Oh my God.
And I say this because Shangela is Alyssa's drag daughter. So it's her birthright to win Dancing with the Stars. That's 100%.
How can we make this happen? Honestly, right now, that's all I can think about.
We have to vote. We have to vote. We have to exercise our democratic right as Americans.
We want Dancing with the drag queens.
Exactly.
If you're in the chat right now, pop off on who you think would win. We definitely want to hear from you. Okay, absolutely. Alyssa.
That's what I'm talking about, R. William. You know what the T is. Alyssa is that girl. She is.
Truly. Also. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of that girl, we're going to talk about Ginger Gonzaga confirms that her She-Hulk character is queer and that there's more coming. Now, Ginger herself has identified as bisexual, which, like, gang. We love new members of the community. But I love that she's salute to the bisexual
bisexual army.
Literally. But I love that Ginger's starting this dialogue because I think She-Hulk in and of itself as like a piece of television has started a lot of dialogue about how superheroes don't have to be, straight and white and male. They can be, women of color. They can be queer people. They can be women. And so I think that this general discourse around the TV series is actually really good.
I think, it's good or bad reviews. I think it's still bringing light and attention to what you're talking about. Like, why are these people upset? Because it's female superheroes?
Yeah, literally, that's it. That's the whole
It's like, get a grip, get a life, get out of my face.
Get a grip.
Get a grip. That's what my therapist told me the other day. Get a grip. Speaking of getting a grip, I do have some homo work for you. Terrible segue, but this is true homo work. Yeah. AMC is creating, they've already created it. It's about to go live. A TV adaptation of Interview with a Vampire. And if you haven't seen the original movie from the 90s or read the book, actually you have two things of homo work. You have
two homeworks to do.
You have two homo works. Honestly, Interview with a Vampire, Anne Rice as a goth, as a goth youth, that was my queer awakening. I
was exposed to Interview with a Vampire, the 90s version, in utero. That was my mother's favorite movie the year that she was pregnant with me. And I think that's why her and my father were not surprised when I wound up, being the bisexual that I am.
They were like reading it out loud, like petting the belly.
Like, yep, this is exactly what we needed.
And this is Lestat.
And me in utero is like, fabulous. Yes, let me inject that into my personality right now. But speaking of really good television, yesterday was the Emmys. And in our fifth news story, we're just talking about all of the great wins that happened. Me personally, I really vibed with Gerard Carmichael. He won for his comedy special, Nathaniel, which if you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful, intimate, poignant, incredibly funny comedy special in which he gets very vulnerable about like his journey as a queer person. And it was just really, really, really well done.
And I also like appreciate kind of when you watch it, the courage in that vulnerability of Gerard's he's not standing up. He's sitting on a chair. Yeah. He's being intimate. He's surrounded by his audience. He's thinking, he's reflecting. And it's almost like an invitation as a viewer to be there almost in conversation with him personally. That's how I felt. I was like,
I agree.
oh, I am experiencing this with Gerard.
Yes.
It was just so beautiful. I think that it was, as a performer as well, like very inspiring and challenging of like, okay, how can I do something like this with my act?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And also, can we talk about Lizzo?
She won an Emmy for her television series, her dance competition show, which we talked about on the show when it like first came out on Amazon, and we were both so excited for it. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her and the girls that were involved in the project. Like, I'm just so happy for them. It's a really big win, I think, for plus size women, for queer plus size women. Like, what a wonderful night. What a wonderful night that was.
What a wonderful night. And also I'm thinking about that cheerleader that's now a Lizzo backup dancer. Do you remember? We shared that TikTok.
Yeah, I was like,
her. Yes.
She's so great.
Okay.
Well, you guys. Yeah.
We do have a stream cleanse. It's Emmy it's Emmy vibes.
Yeah, it's Emmy award winning Cheryl Ralph Lee giving us her acceptance speech. I immediately started crying. I hope you all too.
I'm going to cry again.
Absolutely.
An endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist, and I know where my voice belongs.
I really am.
I sobbed.
I'm literally fighting for my life right now to not cry on this camera. But now we're moving into friend of the family. Ever, you want to take it away?
Yes. Yes. Like, where's my tea? Yes. We have an incredible guest. I would say a friend of the Perfectly Queer family. We're going to be joined by Morgan Walsh. She is she is a co-founder of Open Books, which is an organization that donates LGBTQ plus books to school libraries to foster a more inclusive learning environment, which is incredible. As you know, like we've been talking about this, especially with Don't Say Gay and more states kind of banning books. This is an organization fighting back and giving back. So I'm super excited to talk to Morgan, and I'm super excited to introduce you to all to Open Books.
Hey,
Morgan.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm Morgan Walsh. She, her are my pronouns. I'm so happy to be here. And that acceptance speech took me. Oh, God.
Immediate tears hit my face.
All I could think of is like the fact that she, first of all, sings a song. And I know I'm supposed to be talking about other things, but it just is such a good speech. But how she sings a song and she sings it so beautifully. It's like, I mean, I could see myself trying to do a speech and then singing really off key, and it just wouldn't impact.
Relatable.
Same. People would be like, get them off.
Yeah.
Play the music.
Yeah.
Play them off. Play them off.
Play better music.
Well, thank
you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your name and pronouns. If you're just joining, I'm Ever. I go by they, them.
I'm Taylor. I go by she, her.
So let's get it right into it. Go ahead, Taylor. I feel like I'm cutting you off.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to talk over you. So tell us about how this organization got started. It's a fabulous organization. We'd love to know like what the process was into like the beginnings of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. You said it in the intro, but Open Books, we're a California 501c3. We donate LGBTQ plus affirming book sets to public school libraries. We've been doing our first district-wide delivery was in 2018. So we've been doing this for long before it became this hot button issue as of late. both myself and my co-founder, Keiko Feldman, our moms, we're supporting LGBT kids. And we both felt passionate about setting up what we've sort of called the padded perimeter, because when you're raising kids, you want them to be themselves, and you're also so scared that someone's going to hurt them.
Yes.
You know? So we thought, well, like, what's a way to change the world around us? And for us, it was first having people share their stories on a website. That's actually how I connected with Keiko. I started this website at the time called gendernation.org because my oldest kid was like, Mom, I don't know any other kids like me. And without wanting to be ahead of his consciousness, because we didn't know, we just wanted him to have the space to figure out what it was, just to create the space. And so I said, do you want me to help you find some other kids? And he said, yes. And so it was like a Facebook page and then this website. And I asked Keiko, knowing that she was a mom like me, to share her story and if she was willing to share the story of her son, Zach. And so they did. And then a play group started. So we'd have community play groups, and I would buy books to bring to these play groups. And I would watch the kids like start to look through them, and you could see their expression change. You could see how happy they were to see themselves in a book. And then one night my head was hitting the pillow, and LAUSD, the teachers were actually on strike. And I thought, like, you know, because Keiko and I are both really, really busy. And I was like, well, what can we do? What's a practical, impactful thing that we can do? And it just hit me that if school districts can't pay their teachers, they probably don't have money to buy these more recent books, many of which in the last 10 years or so. What if I just start donating to our local schools these books, which I know I've seen myself bring great joy to kids. And from there, you know, our first district, like I said, was in 2018. And now we've donated to over 1,000 schools, reaching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of students. Most recently, we donated to all of Salt Lake City, Utah, which was a huge thing.
That's incredible.
And we're working on a big donation to the East Coast right now, another 128 schools in a school district. I won't say the name yet, but that school district, they predominantly receive free and reduced lunches. So it's a district that can really use support. And we're thrilled to be able to donate to them. And then, you know, we've donated to Fresno. We've donated to all of LAUSD, which is the second largest school district in the nation. We're very passionate about this work, and we want to keep doing it wherever we can.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. Well, thank you for doing the work and impacting all of these young lives in such a positive way. Have you like received any pushback, or has there been any challenges when kind of initiating conversations with different school districts, especially the ones that are outside of California?
Yeah.
And what can you like kind of tell our audience? Like a lot of the viewers are young people who are really making change. Like they would love to hear from you. They would love to hear about your experiences and how you navigated those challenges.
Sure. Well, a couple things. One is we started this in California, and California has surprisingly conservative areas too. So what we found in the beginning was that we struggled just to get people on the phone in the beginning. But now I believe we're the only organization that partners with schools at a district level. And we do that because we want it to be, we want the messaging to be that this district is supporting the books. We want the kids to hear that positive messaging. And here's like the, silver lining in all this, in this very strange, horrible political climate we're in. And that is what we keep finding is that educators, people who care about people who are the custodians of children's minds and spirit, right? Those people see the kids that they have, and those people care about having these books. They're begging for these books. So what's happened lately is this, political intervention that is not certainly not based on the kids that are in those schools, because the truth is, and you guys know this, there are LGBTQ plus identifying kids in every school in this country. So the choice is you either support them or you hurt them.
Exactly.
Right? It's that simple. And what we found is that educators want to support them. It is a small, at times very vocal group of parents. Usually there's some religion that's involved as well. And your question was about whether or not we've received pushback. And by the way, like, I'm so passionate about this that I will keep talking, so you guys can just shut me up in the middle.
No, you keep talking. I'm enthralled. You don't understand.
I just, I'll say that one time that we received pushback in the beginning, we'd given a preview set to a district. It's actually here in California. We'd given a preview set. We get the preview set returned to us, and there's these Post-it notes like all through the book, right? With like comments and things. And I get on the phone with the person who reviewed the books in this district, and he said, we're pretty much okay with most of the books, not all of them. That's my teenager.
No, that's great. Yeah. Hi.
Anyways, so he said, we're pretty much okay with all of the books except for a couple of them. And one of them was the story of Harvey Milk. We have the story of Harvey Milk, the rainbow flag. And I said, what is your issue with that book? And he said, well, it says that he was assassinated. And what's interesting is at that time, our book set, that book was the most outrageously LGBTQ. It had a huge rainbow flag. It had Harvey Milk. So it was the most overt title, I think, at the time. And I had this hunch that that's what it was about. And I said, the issue is that it says he's assassinated. And then I called my kids into the room. I put the guy on speaker, and I called my kids who were much younger at the time. And I said, you guys, how did Martin Luther King die? And
I was literally about to say, I was like, this sounds fake.
Exactly. My tiny little one was like, he was assassinated. And I said, how about John F. Kennedy? He was assassinated. And so I said, it seems to me that we don't need to be concerned about that. And it's actually really important that we have books that are about real people, right? Because this is a civil rights activist that we don't learn about.
Absolutely.
And the guy said, okay, you won me over. and then the day that we delivered, and this is the point I really wanted to make, the day that we delivered, and it still chokes me up, we delivered to all of the principals in that district, and we wheeled these books in and gave a set to each principal. And that man came up to me crying, and he was as gay as the sun is bright. And he was like, thank you. And I realized he was scared.
Yeah.
He was just scared.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud and so grateful to the educators who put themselves out there, to make sure are there. So that was the time we got pushed back, but we made it to the other side.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's also like, you never know, like hearing that and, being afraid. And there's a lot of like queer people in higher, power jobs, higher seated jobs and professions who are afraid to come out. And I think that it's kind of, what you're doing and what Open Books is doing is getting queer literature into our daily use or our daily mind's eye or the zeitgeist in a way that it helps ease that fear and pain, because it becomes normalized when you read text about yourself, or you see, like, as Taylor can talk about, media that reflects yourself. And it's something that we talk a lot about here on the It Gets Better project, is like being safe, being confident, feeling seen. And I think that, you've also inspired this principal to be brave and to feel celebrated. So thank you so much for all of the work that you've been doing. Also, the chat is like popping off.
Yeah, they're in love with you. They're like, this is amazing. The work is amazing.
That's awesome. We want feedback too. If people have favorite books, right now we focus on elementary schools, and we do that intentionally because a lot, any person will tell you that by the time, and maybe you guys can speak to this, but by the time kids are in middle school, they're already in some distress, right?
Yes.
So we want these images, these stories in schools when kids are in elementary school, so that hopefully we can, prevent from being in distress by the time they get to middle school. And we'll move into middle school books too, but that's our focus.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is there like a favorite book that you find schools or students are reading?
I can speak to a couple things about that. One is we have the book by Alex Gino, which is now titled Melissa. But originally it was published under the title George. And it's really the second book ever. The first one is Gracefully Grayson, but it's the second book ever to just like go to the New York Times bestsellers list, right? It really broke through. Wow. And when we started doing this, we purchased it. It was titled George. We were submitting it. We became acquainted with Alex, the author. And Alex started to advocate that the book title be changed to Melissa, because that is the title they originally wanted it to be published under. And that George is actually the dead name of the character. But publishers at that time, this is like, I'm going to say it's like 2009, 2008, but publishers at the time were saying, people won't buy a book that has a woman's name. So that was the first thing.
Yeah.
And then, so Alex had stickers designed that go in the exact font over George that say Melissa. And Alex shipped us a ton, and we started stickering our books for our delivery. And
I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it's so great. And that is the book that when we went into one of the schools we donated to, we saw a copy of Melissa, and it looked so pristine. It looked really brand new. And so we thought to ourselves, like, oh, maybe they're not reading this. Maybe it's not getting checked out. Right. And Keiko, my co-founder, was like, hey, is this not getting checked out? And the librarian said, oh, no. We've had to order another copy because the other one
was out.
Wow.
So that one is devoured by people. And then Keiko's favorite book is the book Red, which is about a mislabeled crayon. And, there's a lot of feelings in there that are universal. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing we really try to emphasize. And we ask anybody who wants to, please read these books before you assume that they're not right to have in elementary schools, because they're about feelings that we can all understand. They're about humanity.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Even if it's a bird that can't find its flock,
Yeah. Wow. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. We're going to kind of pivot a little bit into a segment that we like to call Canonically
Queer.
So basically, this is that the sound?
Okay. I think tech is hard.
Tech is hard. Wow.
Tech is hard. It's Mercury retrograde. Mercury
there's retrograde. No point in even trying.
Yeah.
I mean, welcome to my life.
But Canonically Queer is a segment that we like to do with our guests, where we ask them what the queerest object in their vicinity is. And so, take your time, let us know.
Okay, for me, and let's see how this works, but for me, that's my bookshelf with all of the books that we donate. And also some other ones we're exploring. And then there's a tiny little, gosh, you guys, I don't even know if you can see it, but there's a tiny little Love Wins thing. It's a little sign that says Love Wins.
Wow. And your bookshelf is so well organized. I love the color spectrum you got going on.
I need it. Like my OCD, I need the color situation.
That was beautiful. I love
Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today and talking with us about open books. You're doing such incredible work. Where can our viewers find you or find out more information about open books?
Yes, please. So we use private donations to purchase the books from publishers in bulk at a discount, and then we donate those books. We don't have paid employees. It's myself and Keiko Feldman. So if anybody is willing, every little bit helps. Openbooks.org is our website. You can go there, and we're on Instagram at openbooks501c3 to follow us, and Facebook Open Books as well.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Morgan.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
Wow, they're amazing. Those are a fabulous
impressive
organization.
work.
Like when she said that they like gave to like LAUSD, like all those other school districts, their current project with like hundreds of school districts on the East Coast, like that's amazing.
Impressive. That's organization and
truly organizational skills to a level that I can only hope to aspire to.
Also, the principal story really got my heart.
Mine too. I was like, wow.
Wow. It was a twist I didn't see coming.
But it makes a lot of sense. You know, I feel like a lot of older queer people, like they're so fearful of the visibility of themselves because they know what can happen, right? Like the real negative repercussions.
They live through that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's hard for them to adjust to kind of like this new era that we're existing in right now, where like things are, you know, they're getting better. They're not perfect, but they're better.
They're getting better.
Right. It gets better.
It gets better.
Yes.
Speaking of it gets better, it's going to get better with this Converse Quick Hit.
Absolutely. Let's hit it.
The Converse Quick Hit.
Okay, the first video we have is for our friends. Honestly, this is me every time I listen to classical music.
Same.
I'm just play the video. Any work I try to do to classical music, I'm like, it's done.
I don't even bother. Although I love cleaning to classical music, it makes me feel very much like the main character.
I go through a soap opera in my mind every time. If something dramatic comes on, it's a one-person play in my house. Forget it.
Period. Exactly.
So dramatic.
Speaking of, let's go into our trends. We're going to talk about queer hijabis.
Funny, yes, but not funny, haha. Funny, queer.
Funny, queer.
Queer. Can I just say I love that this is the universal symbol? Like people are like, is he, you know?
Queer.
Just love that.
Y'all, okay, our last video is something
Wait. They have the shape of corn, they have an emoji in the chat. Like they have like an emote.
Oh my
there.
God.
Look at what it gets better to say. She's so cute and so small.
How? But I'm
They're
screaming
so
right
cute.
now.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop the whole formation.
No,
but
the chat has been popping off.
So cute.
Also,
Oh my God.
how am I just noticing Ever's plant collection? If anybody in the chat has any plant tips, please.
You look like you're doing great.
I'm a plant. I'm trying to get these plants to stay alive.
Good. They look good.
So far, not so good. So in the chat, if you know, please get a plant. Okay, I'm going to show you all a plant.
Yeah,
it's not looking good.
Yeah, show us a plant right now. Thank you, chat. I love plants. This
is a plant that I am currently trying to revive.
You're a savior. This is amazing. You're actually doing great. I'm sorry. Where's the other leaf?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know what happened.
It happens.
All fell off.
It's the change of the seasons. Just
and this one is like going under. I don't know what to do.
Maybe it's the pot. Sometimes the root system gets suffocated. Maybe it needs a bigger pot.
I'm gonna try to show you all another dead plant. We don't have time for me.
Someone in the group chat said that it's an elephant ears plant.
Well, how do I keep it alive, Sulky? I'm like getting defensive.
This is now
Like
turned into
Gemini
a plant
energy. It's
care
like,
channel.
well, then show me how. I'm trying.
That's not
I
what
was
our
like,
moderator's
okay,
for. Yeah.
the internet is like, you're over watering it. You're not watering it enough. And I was like,
It needs sun. Put it in the dark. Da-da-da. It's like, what do you want from me?
yeah, what's photosynthesis? Forget it.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna get us back on track. We have to finish. So we're gonna go to odds and ends. This is a message to your plants, Ever.
Oh my
let's
God.
hit the clip.
It truly is.
Hold on. Wait.
You're gonna be okay.
That's the one plant that escaped my house, running to tell the other plants, it's going to be
escaped.
okay.
It's coming back for the other plants to mount liberation.
I'm killing succulents.
Oh, I've killed a succulent before. That's an incredibly demoralizing moment. As
You
a
know
pet-
what?
as a
I would
plant
say
parent.
it's a challenge that we've completed.
It's true.
Y'all, this has been the Converse Quick Hit. And, before we get to our queerly creative with our guest, Shelton Lindsay, we've got a bonus dream cleanse for you. So we're going to share it with you. That video was my plants every time I water them.
I feel very seen in the chat though, because they're like, succulents are hard. Everybody's lying that they're easy plants. They are lying. They're hard plants.
And it's like, why are y'all selling these at Trader Joe's?
Just right next to the wine? Why are you selling these next to
Right
each other?
next to the wine.
Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. Okay, you're doing great, sweetie. Okay, I'm noted on the sarcasm, okay?
Yeah.
Y'all, we have an incredible guest.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Mhm.
Producer of the show, friend of the show. We love him so much. Shelton Lindsay, everybody. Woo! We're so excited to talk with you, Shelton.
Yes. You're muted, babe.
Oh, you're muted, babe. Also, if you're just joining us, my name is Ever. I go by they, them.
I'm Taylor. I go by she, her.
I'm Shelton, and when I'm not muted, I use he, they, and the fairy she.
Love it.
Welcome.
Great to have you back. It's been so long.
I know, I've missed your face. It's been a whole 2 weeks.
I know, right?
Too long. 2 weeks, too long. I don't know
Oh
why
my
it
God,
just
yeah.
turned into a boy band. I was like, Shelton.
Okay, Ever.
Too
Yeah, all right.
long.
Is that our #1 single? Is it gonna
Yes.
chart?
Yes.
Yeah. Shelton, so you're going to be talking about your favorite books, correct? You're going to be talking about the Cemetery Boys.
Yes, I am. I'm going to be talking about Aiden Thomas's Cemetery Boys. So I don't know exactly what your reading habits are, but I am a pretty avid reader.
Okay.
As I mentioned last week, I grew up in a house without a television. So
Which is
books
still so crazy to me. That is
it is
crazy to me.
I mean, we had a TV. There was physically one. It was just, it was this mythic place that I wasn't ever allowed to go. I could see Friends on a Thursday night. Very exciting, y'all. It was cool. No, my parents were very big, hang out in the forest with a stick and hit something. So I hung out in books instead a lot. And so I've recently got into just reading as much queer fiction as I possibly could, because there really truly wasn't any when I was younger. And I'm just so excited by the huge amount of material that is out there. So I wanted to share this book with you all because it's got a lot of spooky undertones. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would sort of be perfect for this September into October season. And I'm going to read you the back of the book as a little teaser taster. What do you think?
Oh, we love an audiobook. Yes, give it to us.
Oh my God,
we know that. And nice.
I love an audiobook.
We love
I'm such a little audible friend. So here's the back dust jacket, and it says, "The spirit's face was screwed up tight in a grimace. His fingers gnawed into the material of his shirt. He wore a hooded black leather jacket over a white tee, faded jeans, and a pair of Converse. I mean, honestly, it sounds like I would like this. I like this person's fashion.
Yeah.
That's not Miguel, Maritza tried to whisper, but she never had a very good inside voice. Yadriel groaned and dragged a hand over his face. On the bright side, he had actually summoned a real-life spirit. On the not-so-bright side, he had summoned the wrong one. Do you feel hooked? Do you feel grabbed by this?
Honestly, yes. You had me hooked at the fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the fashion is definitely good.
It was giving James
book.
Dean. I was like, okay, greaser vibes, leather jacket, blue jeans.
Yeah, and Lilas Fox, you definitely need to add this to your list. What it is it's really the story of like a young transmasculine brujo who is trying to find his place inside of his community during like the 3 days of this ritual, right? And like his family, it like accepts him somewhat. And this book is really like a journey about everyone, both himself, his parents, and like the rest of his community, kind of coming to this larger understanding about what it means to be in community. So it's a really gorgeous book. It's uplifting. It's funny at times. It's very poignant at times. I honestly couldn't put it down and read it in like 3 days. So highly recommend. Wow.
What was like one of your favorite moments in this book? Were there just too many?
Without
okay.
No, but yeah, it's just without spoilers. There's a moment where the main character goes to like a party, and they are able to be disguised because it's Halloween. And it's about how comfortable they feel in the world when they're able to like put on a different sort of visage for a moment and be seen as they truly are. And as someone who also loves to perform, I came to performance not because I like needed to be on stage. I came to performance because I felt like I was performing all the time in my life. And it was that I found like real moments of clarity when I got to like be a villain on stage or like put on a costume and be like larger than life. And so I really resonated with the main character. I think a lot of people would. It Gets Better is saying right now in the chat that they also have a way of sending LGBTQ plus books to schools, and you can go to their shop and you can donate the books that they put in there. Oh my God, Shapecoin sighting. And I suggest that people do that, or do things like buy this book, read it, and then like give it to a queer in your life who you think would benefit from it.
Honestly, we in Los Angeles, we have these things that are like neighborhood libraries, like need a book, take a book.
The little books
tiny library.
Yeah, they're so cute.
You know what? I think maybe I'm gonna. Well, number one, I'm gonna purchase that, and then I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna donate it.
Yeah.
Also, we do have a question, not book related. Everybody is commenting on the mullet. The mullet is thriving.
And
how do you maintain the mullet?
Wow, how do I maintain the mullet? Right now, I'm in desperate need of maintaining the mullet. I have been spray painting for a job that I'm doing on Wednesday for the last 2 days, and my hair is filled with paint right now. It's like, can you see my hands? Like, my hands are not supposed to be blue. It's been a moment. And the last thing that I just wanted to say about this book is that the author themselves is like a transmasculine individual, which I also really loved because like as a white man, right? Like I'm was predominantly exposed in the school system to mostly literature by white men. And so it was something that like when I myself turned 21 and actually graduated from university, I was looking through all the work that I had read for school and realized it was like Jane Austen. Like that was it. That was like the one woman they had put on my syllabus. Yeah, Sylvia Plath. There was like 3. There were sort of these like canonical.
Sylvia Plath in high school?
No, this was also in college. And I just think that it's really important to make sure that your bookshelf looks diverse and that you read books from people's point of view who are not like you, because I think that's like a really wonderful way to connect. And so for me, this book was like a really wonderful way to learn about a different culture and experience that is not necessarily my own. So highly recommend it.
Thank you so much for that recommendation, Shelton.
Thanks,
Oh my God.
Shelton.
I can't wait to hear what y'all are reading again soon. Have a wonderful rest of the show, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay, talk to you soon, Shelton. Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
I love Shelton.
It's
Can we
literally,
get
I
a
love
Shelton
Shelton.
Shapercorn?
And then I was literally about to say, and then the Shapercorn was right there. I was like, wow, my two favorite things as of right now are on the screen right in front of me. I love this Shapercorn so Listen, it gets better. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I need a plushie. If you can make me a custom Shapercorn plushie, I will be the happiest woman on this planet. Okay.
I want to be an It Gets Better plushie for Halloween.
Yes. Or Christmas. I'll do any holiday. My birthday's in January.
Holidays. You've heard of the Easter Bunny? It's the plushie bunny.
It's the
Okay.
plushie bunny. Yes.
Is that what we should call our fans? Maybe not.
Well, we're gonna figure out a name.
We gotta figure out a queerly creative.
Yeah, we're like deep in this now. Like we have to figure out what we want to. Let us know in the chat.
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, what do you guys want to be called in relation to this show? You know, like we could call you the perfect queers, but like, you know, that doesn't sound super creative.
I feel like there's something with more like zing.
Right?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I think we have some homo work.
Yeah, we're gonna workshop this. We're gonna figure this out. But while we figure that out, we are also going to help you guys figure out your own issues.
We're going to be helping you figure out.
And let's talk about it. I'm so sorry. I realized I cut off and then you tried to go and then it was like a whole thing.
Retrograde though.
She's vengeful.
And I'm a Gemini with, I think something is in Mercury. So it causes real chaotic energy with me.
Yeah. We've been having kind of a rough go of it this show, but you know, we roll with those punches because we're professionals.
And you have to do that in life.
Yeah. You
gotta roll with those punches
every day.
Well, we have two incredibly inspired questions for us today. And the first one is, what books inspired you when you were growing up? And for me, it was I was a nerd and I loved history.
Oh, I would have never guessed.
Ouch.
I'm sorry, I was so mean.
Capricorn. Well, anyways, whenever Scholastic Book Fair would come in, I would spend. I love a Scholastic Book Fair.
What an event!
I would spend all of my money buying nonfiction books about ancient Egyptian history.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I was a Greek mythology girly myself, but absolutely, yes. I feel like queer kids love like ancient civilizations and mythology. Like that's queer literature. I don't care what anybody says.
Edith Wharton's Greek anthology is put it on the syllabus.
Put that in my veins. Put that in my agenda. Veins. I love stuff like that. Yeah. I just think it's because of like the fluidity of the gods. Like,
oh my God,
Greek
they're
mythology.
so fluid.
They really are. Like, they would turn into like blades of grass and like trees and goats and like human beings. And they
swan.
Yeah. And they would just do whatever they want. It's just like such a chaotic energy. And they were all just like their own entity. You know, they all were like known for something. They were like drag personas.
You know what? It's interesting kind of just thinking about this. I know we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
Is how easily accepted media or, you know, like painting, sculptures, art of these gods have been accepted. And it's like, what about queer people? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like all these conservatives or people pushing back against queer people or subvertly.
It's a cognitive dissonance that I'm never going to understand, frankly. I'm never going to get it. But anyway, we'll move to our second question, which is, why is representation in books and media important to you? I will tell you, as someone who studies this in their spare time, and it is literally how I pay my bills, it is incredibly important for people to be able to see themselves. If you can't see yourself, you don't think that you can be that thing. Like if you don't have that representation in front of you, you're going to be like, well, no one who looks like me has ever done that, so it must just not be for me. And that is what is said when representation is limited, and when it is overtly negative. Like Ever, you've talked about it before, how like growing up, you didn't really like have any positive like butch representation at all, and like how that really like shaded your journey as a mass presenting person. And I agree, like there are so many negative stereotypes about bisexual people, about women.
God, right? That's how we consumed, like
yeah. And so like you begin to feel ashamed of these things that are kind of like intrinsic to who you are. And that's really hurtful to your development as a person. And so it's really important to have media representations, book representations that are positive and that are like plentiful for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I've definitely felt those things. I think what was so great about Nathaniel Gerard Carmichael's special was that he was so present and vulnerable and telling his story authentically. And he is he is someone on the media. Like he's
the representation.
Right? And that's something too that has been inspiring for me as a comedian, of what I want to do and what I want to show on stage or whatever television show I'm working on, is like I am presenting myself as I am. And it took me 30-something years to be comfortable in this body. And it was a really hard day to recognize my own self-worth. Yeah. And I had to kind of backtrack that. And a lot of it was like, oh, I'm ashamed, or I'm a creep because I'm a masculine of center person. And I was like, why do I think that about myself? And it's because that's all I've been told from the media, from the movies.
That's all the representation there is.
Right. And I was like, I have to change that within myself, that thinking. And then I thought, what can I do as a performer to help be a positive influence, a positive representation of butch people? Representation in books and media
is important. But also, like we always say, it is not any one person's responsibility to like hold on their shoulders like all the representation for everybody. Like you're allowed to be an individual person. You're allowed to make your own individual choices. And ultimately, what we want to happen is that we come together as community and we change the narrative together. It's no one person's job to be like the spokesperson for us in any given group. It's our responsibility to find each other, to care for each other, support each other, be compassionate towards each other, be kind towards each other, and then create that community to be strong together, and be that representation for each other. So, don't take yourself seriously, but don't take everything you do super serious.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Sometimes it's a little bit more harmful than you think. Yeah. Speaking from experience, an old age, elder queer, brittle bones.
Bones. Thank you guys so much for those really thoughtful questions. They're always really, really sweet to hear. And unfortunately, we're at my least favorite part of the show. Which is I
hate it too.
It's the end, and I hate it.
Well, y'all, thank you so much for if you haven't caught on, it's the hour and some change mark.
Yeah, that's where we're at, the change part.
We're at the change mark. Thank you so much for joining us.
We are going to be back on September 28th to see you guys. But if you weren't able to catch the show live, you can catch us on YouTube. And we'd love to see you next time we're here. So come join us.
Yeah. And thank you to the Humble Bundle community once again, whose generous contributions help make this show happen. Taylor, what is one thing you're taking away today?
Support your local libraries.
Yes.
Support your local nonprofit organization that is helping your libraries and your school districts. Go to your school board meetings. People, I say this all the time. It's your local small elections that are going to really affect your day-to-day in your community. And especially right now, when one of the battlefields for like this very tumultuous political time we live in is like our school districts, is education, it are the libraries. And so like go to those meetings,
the youth. It's going to be leading tomorrow.
Yeah. Go to those meetings if you don't even have to talk, just go and express that you're here to support, you know, LGBT people, to support progressive learning, to support just having a body there, like as someone who's worked in like various forms of government and whatever, in colleges and in high school and whatever, just being there will make the difference. So just try to go if you can. What about you, Ever?
Honestly, I just feel really inspired by you, Taylor. Like every time you talk, I'm like, yes, and me too.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was like, Taylor should run for.
Oh my God. When I have time.
Ever? Okay, we don't have time. We don't have time. Y'all, thank you so much for joining Perfectly Queer. Like Taylor said, we will be back September 28th. Until then, stay perfectly queer.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.